My guest is Robin Lynch. She is joining us from Leaf Your Mark. We're glad to have her on the program today. Robin, good to meet you.
Good to meet you too, Larry. Thanks for having me.
The organization is dedicated to improving LA's receding infrastructure and public spaces. Tell us about this.
Well, I'm the owner of Regenerative Design Studios. We are a landscape architectural design, build, and consulting firm on infrastructural improvement projects. We're located in San Pedro, and we formed this campaign, Leaf Your Mark, to raise awareness. It is predominantly based on the two goals of identifying and sharing inspiring examples of installed landscape design projects. This includes both intensive and remediation-based projects, and identify and share deserving examples of opportunities and need.
So tell us a little bit about the current state of the infrastructure landscaping in some of these places in Southern California. Is it challenged, to say the least?
It is challenged, but we are excited because we see a lot of change occurring, especially in the Los Angeles area.
So what specifically is wrong with or lacking when it comes to this kind of architecture and stuff like that?
Predominantly in betterments, urban beautification, a good balance between multimodal transportation, which includes safe bike access and stormwater control measures such as bioswales. There needs to be greater canopy coverage, that sort of thing. And what we're excited about, some of the new projects that are occurring are, for example, the LA River Revitalization Project is happening. The 6th Street Viaduct Project, which we've been asked to participate on, is very exciting. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the LA River, but some of it is more naturalized, and the majority of it that extends from Los Angeles down to Long Beach was concrete channelized. And so cities are actually working to change that, to increase urban access to the river, to make it more naturalized, have a more natural approach so that there's less concrete hemming it in, to increase bike paths and landscape recreation areas. So all these things we see as very exciting. The recent passing of Measure M for Metro has enabled the progress to develop more multimodal transportation and green spaces through increased train development, light rail train development, and bike paths and XYZ.
So what is the attitude of city leaders, community leaders, and the average citizens when it comes to this? Are they going along with this, or are they reluctant? Are they fearful of spending money? I mean, give us a feel for the landscape of the people you have to convince or show.
What is so fantastic is there is a great receptive mindset for this change. I think most people think that politicians are just people, just like us. They're people who are elected to serve and represent the public, but they're really people. And what designers recognize is what's known as the psychology of design. It's about how we feel in a space. And good design is greater than the sum of its parts being amenities or the species selected. It's really about creating a site-specific design that works for the space and works for its users. So what we have found, because we work collaboratively with a global network of experts as well as numerous city agencies, is a really high level of collaboration working towards very similar goals, where people want to create beautiful spaces that make them feel good and that make their constituents, the residents in their cities, feel good as well.
Well, without any blame here, list off some who are duds. Well, not duds, but, less than attractive ideas that maybe were done years ago and need to be redone. You mentioned the LA River. That was a big Army Corps of Engineers project, and when it really rains and you see the water flowing down there, I'm kind of glad it's there.
Yes, well, it's definitely good to be directed, but some of these are older typologies, and what we have found is that impermeable surfaces such as roofs and streets and parking lots, that sort of thing, that go into channelized stormwater control measures tend to grab all of the pollutants that come from our cars or, our city uses, and they go right into our rivers and right out to sea. But what has been discovered, not too recently, actually, for quite some time, is that trees and permeable surfaces such as access to soil and interstitial plantings, they actually help to absorb pollutants and filter them out. And instead of having that sheet flow rush of rainwater into our sewer systems, it actually slows the water down and allows infiltration into the soil, which recharges our aquifers.
Yeah, and that's important because some of these heavy rains we get, you look at it, we're basically creating a lot of runoff, but we've got to figure ways to keep the water.
That is very true, because if the soil is more saturated for longer periods of time, it actually tends to cool an area and reduce that urban heat island effect, as do canopy trees as well. So they tend to cool that area down and can help to reduce some of the extreme heat fluctuations that we've been experiencing and effectively reduce drought in small measures. So I wouldn't say that there is blame to be cast, because we recognize that design is a process. Every design, on the macro as well as the micro scale, is always a process, and things are learned as you move through that process. So it's my belief that these infrastructure projects that have happened in the past that, we have found aren't as effective as some of the newer measures we're taking now, they were working to the best of their abilities at that time. And what is really great is a lot of these entities are very open to creating new and better change. For example, Mayor Eric Garcetti's 50 Great Streets, which he has implemented and has been implementing. For example, we've been asked to participate on one of the streets, which is Van Nuys and Lancashire, which we're in talks to work on as well. I think that this is really exciting because it's taking a very urban, concrete, hard environment, and that is predominantly car-based, vehicular-based, and it is softening it and opening it up to multimodal transportations, making it safer for people to ride their bikes. It's making it more beautiful with trees and landscaping. It's opening up, in my opinion, time and space for people to gather and meet, because they're going to be installing parklets, places for people to sit and chat amongst themselves. So, we see a great level of excitement in this new arena.
And is there a potential opportunity with the new administration? A lot of talk about infrastructure. Is that give us potential? I was talking to the mayor about that. He's hopeful about that.
Yeah, I think that there are going to be a lot of changes in the current political climate. We try to stay focused on the regions that affect us. So something that we found that is exciting is the Port of Los Angeles has opened up grant funds to mitigate port impacts. And these funds are to help sustainability projects surrounding the port.
And with that, explain what sustainability is. Some of these terms that you use, some may not understand what that means.
Well, sustainability and regenerative design is based on a closed system approach. It's where all aspects of the design help to feed back into it. There's no waste, meaning that, for example, let's take a way of looking at the two side by side. Let's look at our current stormwater control measures that channelize water and shoot them out into our sewer systems. That it moves the water, right? That's what we wanted. That was the original goal. But we found that it came with problems attached to it, such as, I don't know if you have ever been down at the beach, down in Long Beach, but after a rain, that water you don't want to get into. So what we've found is adding regenerative design techniques to design itself, meaning adding different components, will affect increased layers of benefit to the design and to the functionality and to the user experience within the space. So when you, for example, let's take, this river project again, when you change the way water moves through a city and you soften it and use permeable surfaces such as sand and soil and trees, that sort of thing, not only are you still moving the water, which was your fundamental goal, right? But you're increasing recreation, you're increasing beauty, you're increasing the user experience, you're reducing pollution, you're increasing infiltration and recharging our aquifers, you're maintaining our water, which is a very precious and valuable, the most valuable resource, in my opinion. You're increasing that resource. You're improving the value of property in that area. And this is how we see regenerative design.
And I'm trying to think of examples of that, things have done over the years, spaces people want to be in, maybe in a sense, gathering places, a mall's design, LA Live. I mean, people have done things to set it up so you feel comfortable there.
Absolutely. And we're very proud to have been, for the last 5 years, and a little bit still continuing now, the lead outside consultants for everything landscape architecture on the Exposition Phase 2 light rail project and bike path, as well as their CSM betterments project, so the Terminus Station, where Mayor Eric Garcetti spoke at the VIP grand opening, which was such an inspiring speech that he gave, the Sarah Berman Greenway project.
Right, so there are these places. Quickly, because we're almost out of time, final 20 seconds. How can people follow you? Where can they go?
Well, they can go to our website, rdsla.com, and they can take images of inspiring landscapes or areas that need to be changed and add the hashtag #LeafYourMark.
Again, the hashtag is Leaf, that's LEAF, your mark. Very creative play on words there. I want to thank you so much for taking time to be with us on the program today.
Thanks so much for having me, Larry. It's been a lot of fun.
It's interesting to hear how their efforts to really beautify and add function to areas of our city.